Is President Trump's effort to negotiate a Russia-Ukraine ceasefire working? As you know, Trump campaigned on brokering peace between Russia and Ukraine. And a few weeks ago, the administration brokered a 30-day partial ceasefire where Russia and Ukraine agreed not to hit each other's energy sources and to keep things stable in the Black Sea. That ceasefire is now coming to an end, and it doesn't look like the administration is any closer to a cessation of hostilities. Ukraine's President Zelensky had told the Trump administration they would be open to a full ceasefire, but since then, the Trump team hasn't been able to get Putin on board. In fact, in many ways, it looks like Putin is giving Trump the finger. In 1 week, Russia struck a residential area near a playground, killing 19 civilians, including 9 children. And on the morning of Palm Sunday, Russian missiles hit the center of a crowded Ukrainian city called Sumy in an attack that killed 35 people and wounded over 100 others, including people on their way to church. That strike came only 2 days after Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff was in Moscow meeting with Putin. Trump said the attack was horrible, but he notably did not condemn Russia for these attacks, which seems like a policy of the administration since they didn't let the G7 condemn Russia and voted against a resolution condemning Russia's war because they're worried that language could undermine negotiations. What are you, the UN now? You guys threatened to take over the Panama Canal as a negotiating tactic, and you're worried about condemning Russia? Please, they view that as a compliment.
Yes, it's true. If I bad, I want you to know it.
And clearly that tactic is not working anyway, since Russia's foreign minister afterward said that Russia and the US had not come to any agreement and that Russia's demands were, quote, not some kind of negotiating position. Meanwhile, Zelensky has asked Trump to visit Ukraine so he can see the destruction for himself. So the question is Trump's approach gonna work? Or was Zelensky right when he told the vice president in the Oval Office that you can't negotiate with Putin? On one hand, the administration has achieved a few steps. They've reached this partial ceasefire, they've established diplomatic relations, and they've been able to get the release of 2 Americans who had been detained in Russia, American schoolteacher Mark Fogel and Russian-American ballerina Ksenia Karelina. On the other hand, Russia has continued these horrific attacks and is obstinate in its absurd demands in exchange for a ceasefire. They want things like total regime change in Ukraine and for the country to demilitarize, for example. What's odd is that the administration's approach is the opposite of the tough maximalist approach they usually take on other issues. Like Trump's message on Iran negotiations is literally, these talks will succeed or I will bomb you. And I believe him. So why the more subservient tone toward Russia? The administration seems to be very focused on Putin's threats of using his nuclear weapons, which I can appreciate, except Putin's threats are also a sign of his desperation. I mean, the guy now has both North Korean and Chinese soldiers fighting for him. Or maybe the administration is giving it a good college try, and if it fails, they'll have a reason to change course. I believe that if Trump really wants to force a peace deal between the two, then he has to arm or at least threaten to arm the hell out of Ukraine in order to scare the shit out of Putin. Vladimir won't negotiate anything unless he feels he's facing bears and not mice.